listening to the Bloody Bits Horror Show with your host, Eddie the Axe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bloody Bits Horror Show. I am your host, Eddie the Axe, and joining me, as always, the co-host with the co-most, Tim Yobo.
It's me, Tim Yobo.
Tim, thanks for jumping on again, man. We're wrapping up Body Horror Month of Dec-member, cruising into the new year. And, well, Candice is here too.
Yay!
Thanks for coming and joining us again, Candice.
Exactly. A new start. You got one of the fresh new faces of podcasting here.
Yes, the fresh face of podcasting.
And we are wrapping up the Body Horror Month, as always, kind of circling back a little bit. Candice.
Yep.
You brought in...
Antiviral.
Antiviral, yeah. 2012 film written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg, son of David. And this is actually his first feature film. So what's your history with this film?
This was, well, I really just watched it on the strength of the Cronenberg name in itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's kind of nepotism. Like, just because the father's a good director doesn't mean the son's going to be. But I had seen good reviews and it sounded interesting. So I watched it and I was like, that movie was fucking brilliant. And I was like, baby Cronenberg got the gene. Like, he is really good.
Yeah, he was hanging around the set with Daddy all the time, I guess.
I call him baby Cronenberg, but he's like a 40-year-old man now.
Yeah.
He's not a youngin'.
No, 40 years old, and he actually just had another film come out that I'm looking to check out.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
Possessor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Possessor.
That looks like it's going to be good, too. I was surprised because I figured the same thing, Candice. I thought, it's Cronenberg, so of course he's going to be able to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if he's going to be as good as his father is, but I was really surprised with how much the movie was good.
Yeah, because just because your dad's good at something doesn't mean you're going to be.
No, but in Hollywood, you're right. It doesn't mean anything, but you're going to get a couple more chances than anybody else is going to get.
Yeah.
Just from writing on that name.
Yeah, I mean, because it's, excuse me, it's a very distinct name, You hear Cronenberg, you're not like, is that Paul or David?
Yeah.
You're not going to get him confused with anything else. You know exactly who you're talking about.
And he's going into his father's field of body horror, too. So that's another thing where it's just like, is this kid just trying to make a quick movie just to see what the hell's going on? But it's really good.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And we'll definitely get into that right after we...
Get to know your Yobo.
Wait, she already asked me a question last time.
Voice of an angel. Whoever does that song is just, mwah, perfection.
It's a brilliant pull that he did on that one.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of audio cleanup on it, make it sound a lot younger and more energetic.
You auto-tuned the hell out of it.
Auto-tune.
That's actually me singing it.
Yeah.
God damn.
So, Candice, as you are well aware, Get to Know Your Yobo is our weekly feature where our guests ask our co-host, Tim Yobo, a little question just to get to know him. And I'll always throw it over to the guest first. Do you have any questions for your Yobo?
I have a actually friendly question for the Yobo. What are you most looking forward to in 2021?
Oh, hopefully being able to go back out again. Not just going to work and coming home and going to the supermarket and coming home.
I think everybody's looking forward to that, hopefully.
Yeah. My wife was saying that just this morning she forgot for a moment that we were in a pandemic while she was waking up, and she's like, we should go to the old retro video game store today.
Surprise, surprise.
Nope, not going to be able to do that. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not even really that big of a going out person. I like staying home. So the first 4 or 5 months didn't bother me that much, but Jesus Christ, it's starting to get to me now.
Yeah.
Especially when it sometimes feels like you're the only person doing it.
Don't get me started on that. I take the fucking subway into work, and at least 3 or 4 times on a ride to or from, I have to get out of the fucking car and go to another one because there's some asshole either without a mask or who thinks, Well, I don't have to wear a mask if I'm drinking something, right?
Or talking on the phone. I see.
Yes, that's the other fucking thing too. It's like, Jesus, you're not doing fucking FaceTime, asshole. I can fucking hear you sitting across the car. The person on the other phone should be able to hear you fine.
Yeah, you can talk on the phone with a mask on. You can. I do it all the time.
Yeah. But yeah. Let's get back to normal quickly, please.
Agreed. So, speaking of getting everybody sick, talk about thematically the movie to select here, man. Antiviral. It was I guess Brandon Cronenberg in an interview said the inspiration for this film came when he was younger and he was ill with a viral infection. He was kind of laid out feeling like shit, and he thought about the nature of viruses and infection and having this thing that was living inside of him, kind of living off of him, harvesting him, and it was totally separate and alien to him, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's called having a baby.
Yeah, well, that too.
But they make that parallel in the movie between being pregnant and having a virus.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like a parasite.
Exactly.
And then he says later on he saw an interview where on Jimmy Kimmel Live where Sarah Michelle Gellar was in, and she was complaining about being sick, and she said kind of passingly, hey, if I sneeze into the crowd, and then it's going to get all of you sick. And the crowd started cheering.
Jesus.
Like, that's a little bit weird. And then the capper on it for him was when he found out that somebody had purchased one of John Lennon's molars in an auction for $30,000.
The fuck is wrong with
Jesus
people?
Christ.
Which you think of shit like that and you watch this movie and you're like, this is not a dark dystopian future. This is just the future. Yeah,
it's just a little shade of satire thrown on top of things that already are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not like over-the-top satire like Idiocracy, where things are taken to just the most extreme versions of themselves.
Oh, you mean the documentary about America?
Yeah. So, Tim, what about you? What's your history with Antiviral? Had you seen it before the
Nope,
show?
Never saw it. I don't even think I heard about this movie.
Yeah, it was a sleeper. Not a lot of people watched it.
Yeah. It wasn't very big. I mean, it had like a $3 million Canada budget. I think it made worldwide somewhere around 200,000. It didn't do much, but then it got picked up on streaming, and it kind of had a resurgence because it was on Netflix for the longest time. And it did really well in the festivals, and critically, it was pretty well regarded.
Yeah, I can't imagine that this would be a big blockbuster in any circumstances. It's just not what blockbusters are supposed to be. But I'm surprised it made just that little bit of money.
Yeah. Well, it certainly wasn't because of all the star power that it was trading off of. The film stars Sid, who's being played by Caleb Landry Jones, who you might remember from the film The Last Exorcism, or he later went on to play the creepy brother Jeremy in Get Out.
He's also Banshee from X-Men First Class.
Oh yeah, well that's a comic book thing. This is what, right?
It's kind of a big film. I don't know if you heard of X-Men or not, but and he's also he plays a small part in 3 Billboards to what's the name of that movie? I don't have it written down. 3 Billboards to Ebbing, Missouri, or something like that. Yeah,
I know. With Frances McDormand.
Yes, he was a small part in that, and I love this actor. He shows up, and I'm like, this is going to be good, because he's one of those arguments that you don't have to be a beautiful, gorgeous person to be an actor. You just have to be memorable. You got to have a distinct face that makes you stand out from the rest of the bland white, like brown stubble, blue-eyed men that fill Hollywood studios. And then you have someone who looks like Caleb Landry Jones, who's like kind of a ginger strawberry blonde. He's got freckles all over his body. And he's kind of got an odd-looking face, but you remember him when you see him. Yeah. And he's also a hell of a damn actor to boot.
Yeah, his performance in this is phenomenal.
He was a great Banshee.
And the other co-star to this, I'll give it credit to, is the celebrity Hannah Geist, played by Sarah Gordon, who did a little bit of TV work, did some non-horror films, and then was in an episode, though, this is interesting, of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Huh.
Okay.
You remember that weird old show on Nickelodeon for people younger than myself?
Yeah. You mean Cool
She later
People?
went on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Then she later went on to play, what the fuck is this name? Myrna in 2014's Dracula Untold.
Which one is that?
I have no idea. Candice, you're the Dracula fan.
I'm looking this up because I didn't really look at her. I mean, I glanced over her stuff. I know what this is. This is when they were trying to reboot the Universal monsters. The Dracula Untold was supposed to be the kicking off point.
Oh, so before the Mummy, it was Dracula Untold.
That's the one that
Yeesh.
originally bombed before the Mummy bombed in such a spectacular fashion.
Was that the movie where the guy from Prison Break was Dracula?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
No. You're thinking of oh man, I didn't actually see it myself. I just know of it. Oh my god, I don't know.
That Dracula movie.
That Dracula movie with the guy from Prison Break.
I think it was one of the Blades, wasn't it?
That was Blade 3, wasn't it? Wasn't he Dracula in Blade 3 and Blade Trinity?
You know how we get Eddie to shut up? There's two ways.
Just start talking about vampires. Yeah.
Look,
now,
you're talking to me.
You think there are vampires in the Star Wars universe, Candice? There has to be, right? There's a werewolf in that cantina.
Oh, no, there are vampires because if you read the extended universe books, there is a whole thing about the Senate, the New Republic, is trying to stop these vampire parasitic relationship between these vampires and the people that they feed on, and the people that they feed on vote to stay where they are because that's just their way of life. And it was like a big stink.
You know what that sounds like to me? The Republican Party.
Got him.
Oh, God.
Vote against your own self-interest.
Yep.
I don't care. I like vampires. Nobody can tell me no vampire's going to suck my blood.
No kidding. And later on, we have a very fun, kind of a cameo from Malcolm McDowell, of course.
Yes.
Excellent little fun role he had, and Brandon said he was a really, really great to work with. I can imagine. I mean, that's a name among names.
That's a gigantic name in movies, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my God. So that's about it I have for some of the background of the film. There really isn't a ton out there.
Well, there's another guy that's in it, Nicholas Campbell, guy who plays his boss.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Go ahead.
From the Dead Zone. He was the killer in Dead Zone. Oh, wait, spoiler alert for Dead Zone.
Fuck, I didn't even notice that. Huh.
The David Cronenberg movie?
Yes. Of Stephen King's The Dead Zone with Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even make that connection, right? David Cronenberg directed that fucking movie. Wow. Yeah, because that's not a David Cronenberg movie at all.
No. Not written and directed, just directed. So, the premise of the movie that we're going to kind of get through here is the titular our hero, Sid, works for a company called Lucas Clinics. And the idea is that this is a company which purchases celebrity illness by basically drawing blood from these infected celebrities who get whatever they catch just out in their life, usually. They then take that illness into a laboratory, render it sterile, kind of, as a method of copy protection, because they don't want you, purchasing this virus and then just going out and reproducing it, because then how are they going to make their money? And then they sell the illness to celebrity-obsessed fans.
The idea that they're so obsessed with these celebrities that they actually want to experience the illness that they did because it makes them feel closer to them.
It's probably as close as you can get to them without fucking them, right?
Or eating them.
Yeah. So, one of the first people that we see who goes into the laboratory purchasing an illness, with Sid giving him his good rap on look at her. She's not even really a person. She's more of an ideal. She's more of a thought,
Yeah, this gets brought up a lot in the movie about what are celebrities exactly. Later on, the owner of the clinic says, there's no such thing as a celebrity. They're not real people. They're a group hallucination. Which really philosophical about what is a celebrity? Who deserves to be a celebrity? Who deserves to be famous? You know, because
Well, I think he also says that if you're a celebrity, you are a celebrity because you deserve it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out in the movie the I'm not a film person, you know. I'm not like I don't usually watch art house movies or anything like that, and I don't understand them or like them. But I've always heard that David Cronenberg is known for his very cold and clinical atmosphere in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
That like detractors of Cronenberg say he's too cold. And I never really understood that because I'm like, I don't know, it just looks like a movie to me. But this movie is cold.
At some points, it's so much white, it looks like people like floating instead of like sitting down in a fucking chair or at a desk.
Yeah, everybody looks all washed, unless you're a celebrity. They always look healthy, but everybody else looks really washed out, and they're wearing these like coats with like just black coats on white backgrounds, and their faces are really pale, and they always look small. Like it's beautiful. Every single shot, you can tell, was set up so carefully because everything's so symmetrical.
Like I even like the fucking shot of the airplane flying through the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. It's funny too because as they're walking through the clinics in different locations, you'll often see these kind of video billboards and things in the background that are just animations of the celebrities. And a lot of that, it's like about half of the filming that was done for this was actually done in pre-production. So a lot of what you're seeing is, like you said, just a lot of kind of very sharp pictures of people or filming of people against a white background. It reminds me, the way they use color in this almost reminds me of what they used to do with Breaking Bad, where you'd have like the people that were in recovery would be wearing like a grayscale. Then you'd have, certain people wearing red or blue or green or whatever. But only, like you said, the celebrities are the only ones that really get any sort of a non-grayscale coloring. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really stands out in the hotel scene.
Oh,
you know, because it's very jarring when you cut to the hotel. So, and what's interesting with this first person, though, that he's making the sales pitch to, is he kind of finds out that the guy has a lot of money and he's kind of willing to spend whatever to get, just as close and as intimate with this celebrity as possible. So he ends up selling him the herpes virus.
Yep, because that way it'll never leave.
Yep, it'll stay with you forever. And
but does it? Maybe this company's gonna pull like a Monsanto thing, where after like 6 months the herpes thing goes away, and you have to come back and get a booster shot.
Well, like real herpes simplex virus, it'll go dormant, so you won't have that cold sore all the time, and then something will make it flare up again, like stress or a sickness.
Yeah, but I would just think, like, if they're making their money off of selling viruses and doing that they would want to do it where it's like, that's not a one and done. That's why you spend $3,000 on a refrigerator, because you probably buy one of them in your lifetime, and some small appliance costs $40 because you're going to buy 20 of them in your lifetime.
Yeah, maybe it's why they imply with this herpes virus that you're really going to pay out the nose for it. Like, you are going to empty your bank account for this virus.
And he does. And he gets a little injection of the herpes virus on the left side of his mouth, right where she has it.
No,
if she kissed him, that's where he would get it.
Yes, the mirror side, yeah. So if she kissed him, that's where he would have gotten it. And he, so Caleb, Sid, our main character, uses the little needle and pierces his upper lip with it. He pulls open his upper lip and then pierces with the needle in between the gums and the lip, which is such a sensitive area. And I'm like, oh god, this is awful. But the guy, he goes, ugh, he's covering his lap, and you can tell that he just came in his pants when he gets hit with the virus.
Just the biggest erection getting fucking injected there. It's oof.
Yeah.
Pretty rough, man. So then we'll also find out, though, that our buddy Sid here, he's doing a little double duty in the lab because he's got a side hustle going on, in that he is using his own body as an incubator to smuggle these viruses out of the lab back to his home, where he's got his own little home lab kind of hidden in a false wall behind a closet so that he can... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's pretty clever. because they shows the security searches them and questions them if they're taking any of these proprietary viruses home with them.
Right.
So because they don't want them selling or stealing, but he injects himself with the viruses and grows them in his own blood so he can, then smuggle it out that way, which is pretty damn clever. Because what are they going to do? Give him a blood test that, every single time they leave work? No.
It's his version of keystering it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Basically, yeah. And it's funny because you'll commonly through the movie see him taking his own temperature. And it's in a lot of shots where it's almost like he's smoking a cigarette.
The movie starts off with him taking his temperature.
Yep. And it makes me wonder if when they're scanning them on the way out, they're checking to see if they have a fever, that they might not have had before.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Wow, see?
I thought he was trying to see if the virus took. Because, there's no guarantee that you can catch something. So I was like, I wonder if he's always taking his temperature because he's like, oh, if I have a fever spike, that means that it's working.
That might, I don't know. Yeah, because also all he does is fucking load himself up on fucking orange juice and it looks like what? Tuna fish sandwiches.
Yeah, tuna fish sandwiches, orange juice, and multivitamins.
So he's probably trying to keep himself as healthy as he can while he does have these viruses so he can go into work. Because it's going to defeat the purpose if every month he's out of work for 3 fucking weeks.
Because he's sick, yeah.
Yeah. So he runs him home and he loads the virus into a little computer lab of his. And they do this interesting thing here where when you load it, you get a picture of a face that appears on this screen. And the face is, they kind of explain it. It's interesting. It's like the face of the person who is infected, but it's of them and how the virus interacts with them or how it's a part of them.
Yeah,
and
they explain it. They explain it. The machine will actually stop the virus from being able to become infectious. It locks it into place. And the technician who's doing this, Sid's character, unconsciously changes the face of the person based on what they're seeing with the virus. So that is the virus's face.
Yeah, because I think he's also saying that how people have learned to recognize facial expressions even subconsciously while they're looking at somebody. So I guess the technician, while he's looking at that, he's subconsciously picking up different things and changing it around. So it works.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of philosophizing about the nature of viruses in this movie, which I am 100% into.
So he is taking them home, though, and he's reverse engineering this copy protection. Because his side hustle is these viruses he's smuggling out. He's got a buddy named Arvid, and Arvid runs a company called Astral Bodies. And Astral Bodies, they have a different kind of take on the whole celebrity worship and infatuation.
Have you heard of the term starfuckers?
Yeah. Well, this is Star Eaters.
This is Star Eaters. Yeah, this is the next step.
Yeah. They are reproducing, I have to assume it's through some sort of like a stem cell petri dish scenario.
They call it a cell garden.
Yes.
Yeah, which I guess means they have pluripotent stem cells, and then they'll take the skin cells from their favorite celebrity and let it grow together, and then they make steaks out of it, and they're like, here is a pound of Hannah Geist. Be like, you can have this for dinner, bring this home for your family.
Can't they just make it look a little bit more appetizing?
Oh, it looks fucking gross, because it's like it kind of looks like insulation, like wet insulation from a house.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
So the idea is that it's completely bloodless, just like 3D printed muscle tissue. So that's why it just looks like gray old meat.
And this is where it starts to have a religious connotation, because these celebrities are more than human. They've become gods in these people's minds. So eating these celebrities is taking communion, basically.
There's the whole communion thing right there.
Exactly. And they go further into it. They don't come right out and say it, obviously, but a lot of the imagery used and people's reactions to being around a celebrity, it has a very strong religious connotation.
So, Tim,
Yes.
If they could grow in a lab human meat, would you eat it?
Something that's actually supposed to be human.
Yep.
Hell no.
How about you,
picky, I'm
Candice?
picky eater, so you don't even.
That's true. You don't even eat pork.
Yeah.
if it was grown in a lab and they were like, this was never conscious.
No.
There was no
Grown in a lab.
consciousness was ever put into this thing. Yeah, I'd eat it.
Human meat, would you have any preference?
Isn't butt meat supposed to be the best?
Oh,
'Cause
I
it's
mean,
like-
who? Gross.
Oh.
You're talking about what part of the body?
Candice.
Yeah. Candice is over here talking about eating ass. I'm
She's
just
gonna
saying, like,
eat some ass when she gets home.
That takes eating ass to a whole new level.
I'm talking about fucking, is there anybody specifically you'd prefer? But damn.
I've never gotten into the celebrity worship that some people have. Like, cause it's another thing that boggles me about humanity, is people who like stalk celebrities or will buy something just because a celebrity uses it, even if it's an inferior product, you know? And people, and this is, happened recently, that when a celebrity dies, and you see all these people on the streets crying their eyes out, and I'm like, why? You didn't know them. Like, that sucks. It's a human being who died, and that's a terrible thing, but it's not like they were your friend. Like, you didn't know them personally.
So there's actually an interesting psychological phenomenon about that, in that we build this fake relationship with a celebrity, and it's something that we can share with other people. It's just a way that we relate to each other. Oh, we all like David
Yeah,
Bowie,
we all have the
let's say.
same imaginary friend.
And when that person dies, the suffering or the acting out, like you said, of the mourning of it is actually a safer way of us to practice mourning for when it actually takes place in our life with somebody that's very personal to us.
I don't
It's
know.
kind of a
Wait, what do you mean
subconscious thing.
practice?
Well, you're mourning, but in a safer way.
Yeah, I know, but
Right.
the way you said like practice, like you don't know how to do it, so you gotta fake it to make it.
Right, so it's like a nightmare, right? A lot of the times they say that nightmares are your brain kind of preparing you for a situation. So something jumping out at you, let's say, things like that.
Yeah,
It,
I can't really get behind that. I can't say that's 100% true, which it's just an idea, right? It's trying to
it's a
explain
theory.
something that already exists. Because I don't care if a celebrity dies. I'm like,
Yeah.
that sucks, but I'm not like, oh my god.
Well, you're
My
also
life
eating
is
people,
over.
So, you know.
And I would eat them.
You're like, wow, maybe I can get them half price now at the supermarket.
No,
Yeah.
it goes
It's
up
gonna
because then
spoil soon.
you better hope that they have some skin cultures handy.
Yeah, I told my wife if that was possible, I'd eat somebody. I'd eat her. I want
Oh,
her
it's so sweet.
3D printed or whatever. Yeah, and I want to cook it in front of her so she gets to smell it and everything.
But she can't eat it. Only you.
No,
You're just sitting
just
there,
me.
walk
Yeah.
away.
Just having a big old steak.
I think I'd probably taste like a Sour Patch candy.
Yeah, you
First
think
she's
so?
sour, then she's sweet.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, they're just cloning fucking celebrity DNA and selling it off as this gross gray meat, but everybody loves it because, like
Mhm.
you said, it's communion. It's maybe it's like an internal transubstantiation. Instead of the bread becoming the actual flesh of God, it's them becoming gods themselves by consuming a god,
And you're doing the actual flesh.
literal flesh. Yeah.
But what
Except
gets
you'd
me
be pooping
is at
it
one
out
point
in a
somebody
day.
else brings it up too. Is how can the people who is buying the Hanegeist steaks and the other people say, be sure that that's who it really is? The guy's
That's a good
growing the
point.
shit basically in the fucking back of the shop. That could be anybody's fucking DNA that he's turning into fucking steaks. And
Wait
selling.
a second. You sold me Hannah Geist. This is fucking Dust and Diamond, you son of a bitch.
Because at one point later on in a restaurant, something like that is mentioned,
Yeah.
where somebody is pushing off somebody else's steaks as hers.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
that's. I can't. Okay, never mind. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, that's a little later on after what happens to her happens to her.
Mm-hmm.
So, our friend, Sid's friend Derek, who was another smuggler, we find out, got busted for smuggling out one of the systems that they use for doing the engineering and reverse engineering of the copy protection.
Yeah, and when we originally see him, in the beginning of the movie, he looks like he's sick.
Yeah, he
Oh,
looks
yeah,
When
he
we
real
looks
bad.
first see him, so he's probably been doing the same shit that our hero has been doing.
Yep. And this is kind of the now we're going to get into the problem that takes place, because Sid says, "Hey, I'll take over for him. I'll go get infected, or I'll go collect the hot new disease from Hannah Geist." And it's funny though, because he claims like, I was never even a big fan of Hannah Geist or anything.
Yeah, he claims that, and he's a liar.
He's full of duty, this fucking guy.
Well, you don't want to look thirsty.
Let me point out stuff. You know how there's, in the background, there's lots of TV shows that people are watching, and it's all like celebrity gossip shows. We all know
And
those
the
kinds
two
of
different
things.
magazines that everybody in this world is reading.
Yeah, and it's always about celebrities. Well, there's this background story going on about this celebrity named Aria Noble.
Yes.
And I don't know what's going on, but she's having some kind of meltdown, very public meltdown. And the camera puts on like predator heat vision when she's getting out of a car and zooms in on her vagina and shows that it's hot. Like hotter than the rest of her body. And it puts
I think what that is, Candice, is that what it is, it's supposed to be a scandal. I think we first see it's supposed to be like something celebrity scandal where she gets out of a car with a short skirt, and I think you get a crotch shot of her.
Yeah.
And then later on, Caleb's friends are talking about how she has a malformed vagina or something like that.
Yeah,
with
she has to have special underwear made for her.
So I think that's why everybody's focusing in and zooming in on her crotch.
It was so funny because it went into predator
vision.
heat vision and zooms in, and you can see her vagina is like 20 degrees hotter than the rest of her body or something.
Well, her ass is nice and hot, so you can eat it right away.
Oh, it shows her ass later, real up in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want to know how they got that camera. That seems like
It's the future.
Yeah. I mean, you've
You're
heard
a
of
celebrity,
upskirt.
you don't get any privacy.
True. It's true. It did remind me of the whole Britney Spears shit when she was getting out of the limo and they got the picture of her.
Yeah,
crotch.
it's like Britney Spears and Paris Hilton, both of them refused to wear underwear while getting out of a limo, so they were constantly shooting their snatches at the cameras, you know?
Brilliant move, because guess what? 30 years later, all three of us are still talking about it.
That's true.
Yeah, it worked. Definitely worked.
Talking about celebrities and stuff and whether or not they deserve to be famous, I remember when Keeping Up with the Kardashians first started.
Ooh.
And
The downfall of civilization.
I was in
show.
college. I didn't know who the fuck Kim Kardashian was. I had never heard of these people before. And I was in college, and I was on a treadmill in the gym, and someone turned that on the TV, and I thought at first it said Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Thought it was about the Kardashians from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I was like, oh, this should be good. And then all these, like, you know, vapid dumb bitches came on the screen, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is not what I was promised.
When are the Borg going to come in here and assimilate these fuckers?
Much better show.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was an aside that I wanted to add. How I got briefly confused between Kardashians and Cardassians.
I know my wife was shocked when I told her that, this chick is only famous because she fucked somebody and her mom sold the tape.
Oh yeah, that's a whole level of fucked up. Oh.
Yeah, and even like you were saying earlier, even the concept of deserve to be famous. Does somebody deserve to be famous or not? Is
because
so
they made a sex tape and
fucking
their mom sold
bizarre. Yeah, and they kind of get into that a little bit with Sid later on, right?
They do.
So Sid he takes over for his buddy Derek. He's like, all right, I'll go over to the hotel and I'll get this hot new disease from Hannah. And now the story is taking place. So we go into the hotel, and like I was saying, it's interesting because everything has been this very stark right angle, white blank canvas with the little celebrity windows going on where you can see their vaginas and everything. But you go into the hotel, and it's very, very, very well decorated and ornate and warm. There's color everywhere, and it's very jarring.
It actually looks alive.
Yeah, you're like, wow, this is a completely different scene.
Well, that's, I think, maybe what that is that's the way that everybody is looking at these celebrities.
Yeah,
They are more bold, they have more detail to them, and everybody else is bland and washed out. And then when you see Hannah, boing.
That's a very good point. You know, I hadn't thought about that, but that's a very good point. That this is how us average Joes perceive the celebrity life as being more alive and more real and more rich than anything we could have.
If celebrities are a group hallucination, why not?
Yeah,
They're going to
that's
be
true.
more vibrant and stand out. It's like you have your color TV turned up to dynamic instead of inside.
Damn, Tim. That's good. That's a good point.
Meanwhile, some mornings they got to rock back and forth on the toilet to get that shit out, just like you and me.
Well, not like me, because I'm
No,
not an
they got
old man with a
bidets.
failed prostate.
Yeah. I got a bidet too. Bidets are wonderful. So yeah,
Days and
he goes,
karaoke, thanks to my wife.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tim's wife.
and then she threw out your notes, so it's even.
We were supposed to do the show last week. And
Yeah,
I think
no,
at that
that's
time I
true.
probably did like 32 different podcasts. So
That's
I
true.
can't get upset.
Well, that's like when I release an episode of the show, and then somebody will message me and say some joke that one of us said, and I'm like, that was 2 weeks ago. I do not remember what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry.
Listen, folks, if you wanted to call next week
Yeah.
when we're talking about spaghetti desserts. This week we're talking about how you can help the elderly in your community.
Mhm.
So next week, call with your question for this week.
So he goes up to her room and goes to withdraw her blood. And it's funny, the two actors in the scene, Sid and Hannah, they refused to meet each other or be introduced before they filmed this scene.
Mm.
So they basically had no idea, who the fuck they were going to be walking into, to kind of keep the surprise, I guess, that they kind of had on their face a little. But Hannah doesn't look too surprised. She looks sick.
Well, she's got
not looking
a
great.
sleeping mask over her face. She's like, she's barely even
Yeah.
human, kind of, because she's just, her hair's perfect, her makeup's perfect. She's wearing a sleeping mask over her eyes, and she's just laying in repose on this bed, like this this angel, this goddess, And he approaches her like a penitent, and basically like all hunched over, because he's going to do the religious ritual of taking her blood, so it can be
Mhm.
made an offering to everybody else.
Yeah. And he does. He takes a nice little armful of the blood, and her little person that's attending her at the bedside comes over and helps him to seal the little transport tube that he's got, so that they can bring it back to the lab and sell
Yeah.
it back to all of us.
I'm not really sure. Is that woman her mom or like her manager?
I
It's-
got
I
like a
believe it's her
manager
mother.
type vibe.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. I don't think they ever really say.
No, they never say exactly what she is.
Yeah.
Also,
The
all
Virgin
the
Mary.
all the blood drawing scenes are real in this movie.
Yep.
They actually drew all that blood.
Really?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Oh boy. All right.
Have you
I just
ever
gotta
drawn
leave.
someone's blood before? It's actually
I
kind
just
of a
had some
weird
blood
experience.
taken the other day. I had to go to my doctor and can't look at that shit.
I've had
Blood
this.
doesn't bother me, only my own.
It's weird when you take someone's blood for a blood drawing, because when you hold the tube in your hand, it's really, really warm.
Oof.
And so,
Oof.
like, usually when you see like a tube of blood, it's been sitting there, or it came from a cooler or freezer or something, so it's pretty cold. But like when it's fresh from the body and it's still really warm, it's like, ugh.
So,
This is
Candice,
gross.
tell us the truth. In the winter, have you used them as hand warmers?
I know some people have. They'll be like, it's cold in this lab because you're
Give me
wearing
some
your
blood.
vinyl gloves, your nitrile gloves, and then you like hold the little ampules of blood in your hand. You're like, it's nice.
Rubbing it on the back of your neck, like, oof,
Whew,
warm up.
pouring
here
it
a
in
little
your hair.
bit. Yeah. So he takes that little thing of blood and he sneaks off into the bathroom and takes a little key out and unlocks the thing. I'm like, why would they give him the key to unlock it?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah, the only ones who should have the key would be her manager or maybe mother,
Mhm.
and whoever's back at the office that he's supposed to be giving that to.
Right. That's how I would run this business. So I'm gonna send some notes to Brandon. Another interesting thing, and I pointed it out when I saw this scene, is he withdraws some of the blood into a syringe and then injects it into himself. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I tell my wife, I'm like, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to just bring it back to his home lab, you know, and then do the thing he always does with it. But he's already got the blood. Why not just take it into the syringe, set it aside, and then when
Maybe
you
at
get
some
home,
point
inject
further
it?
on it before he gets out of the hotel, or he has to directly go to work. They're not going to let him bring that shit home with him and bring it in on Monday.
Right.
So he's going to have to go through the check. So you got to get rid of it.
Yeah,
But it's
plus like
explained
he has
later.
to become an incubator for the virus. Like, how else is he gonna he doesn't have like a straight up lab at his home where he can
No, he
cultivate the
does.
blood cells.
No, the lab that he has, it changes it, but not to grow it.
Yeah. It doesn't
Right.
like perpetuate it, it does the exact opposite, make sure that it can't be
But-
perpetuated.
But he's still getting the sample from his home lab to his friend regardless, right? Like he's not taking it then from his home lab back to the lab at the office to reproduce it and then bringing it to the guy at the meat market. They do explain though later that he actually didn't need to inject it into himself here. That was kind of a
Stupid.
clue that he's also celebrity obsessed, even though he lies and says he isn't.
Yeah, you know, we
Yeah.
just forgot that whole fucking part of it. Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's exactly why he does it. Good point, Eddie. It's because he pretends like he's above that, but in actuality he's a simp, just like the rest of them.
Hey, don't say that. You can get banned from Twitch.
Oh. Well, damn.
Did you guys read that? They
Yeah, I
just
read that.
passed. Okay, and then they also passed a guidance on saying the N word too the same day. So they're
'Cause
like,
they're exactly the same.
yeah. They said, okay, you cannot say simp, incel, or virgin, right?
What?
Yeah.
But
It's
what
just
if they
kinda
are
like
an
when
incel
schools
virgin?
put filters on their computers and you can't look up breast cancer?
But what if they
Yeah.
are a simp incel virgin? Aren't you supposed to be able to tell them that? You
What
gotta
if
come
they're
up
from
with
the
more
Virgin
creative ways.
Islands?
What if somebody
do
who's a
then?
simp incel virgin wants to come out, but they can't explain what their problem is, so they can never get the help that they need?
No,
Like,
see,
what's your problem? I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say.
that's what
But then,
happens.
so then the ruling on the N word is you just can't say it with an R at the end.
What?
Get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
So I'm like, wait a second. I can be dropping N bombs with a soft A at the end, but I can't say virgin.
Well, they're
Okay.
also Twitch is also like taking people off of Twitch if they have licensed music in it. Like if the game
Yeah.
is playing licensed music and they're playing the game, they can be banned from Twitch. Like it's
There's
insane what Twitch is doing.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I'll go off on Twitch for that, because what I can imagine is it's some fucking lawyer who's sitting in an office who's getting paid to do something. Going,
Oh,
hey, you know what? They're fucking streaming Cyberpunk 2027.
Yeah.
That has this song in it, and that's my client. Let's
Yeah.
sue them.
that's my song, so they are going to be banned now. But yeah,
I have a
it's,
feeling
it's
Genesis probably started doing that shit.
Metallica,
Genesis.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right. The
poor.
fucking cocksucking drummer.
Lars Ulrich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then he
of
got a
course it was
fucking free
Metallica.
game of Guitar Hero or whatever rock band, whichever one came out that Megadeth was in.
I think it was Rock Band.
Yeah, you can't pay $149 for the game, Lars.
That
Anyway,
piece of
back to the
shit.
movie.
Yep.
That was
Sorry, just
That was
getting
quite
pissed
the
off at
tangent
Twitch here
there.
real quick.
Celebrities.
Yeah, celebrities, they're not like us.
they're worse.
So yeah, homeboy runs the virus back to the lab, gives him to the people. He's like, I gotta go early though. I'm feeling a little under the weather. And he rushes home, and he's not doing too good, man.
No,
he's,
he is very sick.
Yeah, he's feverish. He looks nauseous. He's all like got some weird rash that looks like it's breaking out on his arm.
Is he hallucinating too?
He's 100%
he
hallucinating.
is.
Here comes the body horror.
Yeah. He's very hallucinating because he jabs the blood into his machine real quick and starts trying to reverse engineer the copy protection that's in it, but then something starts going wrong with his machine. And the face isn't looking too cool. And then all of a sudden you start seeing these wires jamming themselves all up under his skin. And what the fuck was going on with his jaw here?
It looks like a filter.
Yeah, it
And
looked
then, like,
yeah,
blood
that's what
starts
it looked
pouring
like
out
a
of it.
filter or like 100 fucking cigarette packs. Cigarette matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
in
mouth becomes like distended. His jaw and
Yeah.
mouth become distended outwards. and then instead of a mouth hole, he has what looks like a filter, and blood starts pouring out of it, and he's hooked up to this machine. It's very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the wire work kind of
really-
looks like Neo in the Matrix when he's
Yeah,
in the pod.
It's
Yeah.
very cyberpunk.
It also very much looks like when the gun starts making its way into James Woods' hand
Hmm
in Videodrome.
It also looks like A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, where
Yeah.
where the
Yeah,
boyfriend
with
is
the junkie.
killed. Well, no, where the boyfriend is
No,
killed.
that's 3.
And the dream child, where the boyfriend's killed, and like he becomes one with his motorcycle.
Yep.
Like he
Yep.
morphs with his motorcycle, and then he's
And
killed.
now there's a commercial about that dude.
What dude?
There's some commercial where a guy is half man and half motorcycle. Guess it's
You-
not playing on the West Coast.
Or
What was the
the middle.
what was
It's
the
very, very
cartoon where
disturbing.
Yeah, what
What
are
was
you
the-
what are you watching?
what was the cartoon where the
Tubi.
kid would eat something like spicy food and then turn into a motorcycle or never mind. Anyhow.
I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 60s. I don't remember stuff like that.
I was asking Tim. Anyhow,
Well, no,
So
now
then
she's
he-
going after you for being old.
no, I know.
I guess I peaked at that age where it's not fun to make old jokes about me anymore because now it's getting sad. But
Yeah,
you're right in that
yeah.
sweet
No.
spot for the next 10 years, Eddie.
No, we just feel bad for you, Tim.
It's okay. I don't remember anything.
We just pat your hand.
Yeah, they're there, Tim. They're there.
Wear a glove.
So, yep, Sid wakes up after his fun fever dream sequence and still not feeling too cool, but he's a little better off. It seems like he got a little bit of rest, so he's doing okay. But his computer's fucked, of course.
Yeah, the virus killed his computer. And that's kind of the first hint that this might not be your run-of-the-mill flu virus. This is something really bad.
And it's a
Hmm.
great little visual how he pulls out like the little nodule, whatever it is, and it just looks like it's just caked with dry blood.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Just
diseased,
bomb.
dried blood. Ugh, it's
Or like
gross.
if you
Not-
leave batteries in a remote control for too long, you take them out and all that white shit's
That
all over
is,
it.
yep.
Yeah, corrodes. Yeah. So he leaves his home and goes down. He sees one of the people that's working like an apartment manager or somebody like that.
Yeah, she's like the building manager for his apartment.
Yeah, and
And
she's
they
like,
seem
you,
to have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, she's nice to him. She's like, "Hey, you doing okay? You been up there for a minute?" And he's like, "I was sick." She's like, "Yeah, I kind of figured." So he like, "I better, get to the lab. I better get to work. I got to figure all this shit out because I've been out for a little while, and I'm sure people are looking for me. I'm a disease transporter, and I have friends." And he finds
Yeah.
out that old Hannah, she's not doing too good. In
Mm-mm.
fact, she's dead
Yep.
Dun dun
from
dun.
that
dun, dun.
disease. So
The exact-
now.
And they point out that she might have got it in China. And I was like,
Yes.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
saw when I heard that, I was just wait. Am I going to have to actually write down these notes, which eventually be thrown away? China virus?
yeah. I was like, maybe this wasn't a good movie for me to pick because it's all about people purposely contracting viruses, and the origin of them was China, and which come to find out that's
Yeah.
not true. It didn't come from China, but
Yeah. Spoiler alert. We'll get to it though. But yeah. And it's 1 week after she got sick with it, so we've got a timeline now. We've got he's got an expiration date. So now he's got to get some shit figured out. He's got to try to go, I don't know, cure himself somehow, figure out how to get an antidote, something from maybe his lab has something that can help him out. He has no idea. But he also learns that the prices for all of her products have fucking skyrocketed since she's died. People
Of
are buying
course.
up all of her illnesses, her meat. Yeah, you can't keep her meat anywhere. I mean, man, people are buying it up.
oh yeah, and then it might be just a little further ahead, but it's kind of in the same period of time where people, the talking heads on TV that talk about celebrities, Hannah Geist's dog Brahm is getting a following, so people want to infect their dogs with the same ringworms that Brahm has.
Yeah, that's right. That's in the background.
Yeah, all of this
yeah.
stuff happening in the background is actually just as interesting as what's happening on the screen. Because then you get
Yeah.
poor Arya Noble and her anus dilemma, and it
Yeah.
shows her proctology videos.
Yeah, they got some of the fucking not orthoscopic, whatever the scope is that they give her the colonoscopy for. I'm like, I don't need to see this. What are you doing?
Oh, wait. Give it another 9-10 years, Eddie. You'll be doing more than seeing it.
Yeah,
You'll be
that's
smelling
true.
it.
Something to
I'll
look
be
forward
living
to.
it. Yeah. Thanks, Tim. So
I had to do it. Everybody has to do it.
You know, we really are just all living a very slow body horror movie.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
It was.
It's like we're all kind of dying a little bit every day.
Yeah, some more than others.
And also
And-
that the dog walker for Hannah Geist is claiming to have a used panty liner, and people are losing
Ooh.
their fucking minds in a bidding war wanting this used panty liner from Hannah Geist.
We also,
Hell yeah.
because in the butcher shop, or where Arvid is selling the fucking meat, he has a pair of fucking underwear framed on the wall.
Yeah.
Instead of like a celebrity picture signed by somebody.
You know, the dog thing just reminded me of fucking ever since Biden got elected, all the different articles I've seen talking about his fucking dogs. Like, why do we care? I don't want to hear about the fucking president's dog,
Because
okay?
we just want to get back to normal, man.
I mean, that's true. Maybe
And-
the most coverable thing about the new president is the fact that he has dogs is a good thing.
And we all know this. Dogs are great judges of character.
That's
If you have a
true.
dog and a dog loves you, you can't be... Well, wait. Except for maybe one exception, you can't be that bad.
What's the one exception?
I'm looking at you, Hitler.
That's true. He was a dog
Yeah.
lover.
And a vegan.
Mm.
So he wouldn't have been eating any hamburgers, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Blonde
that,
hair and blue
that
eyes, are you
people are-
sure?
that people are like lined up out of the building and you have to take a number and you can only get 3 ounces of Hannah Geist per person.
Yeah, and we run into the guy from the beginning of the movie who has her herpes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a celebrity now. He's got her herpes, man. He's got a little piece of her forever.
Oh, fun fact about the herpes simplex virus. So the ones that's on your mouth cold sores are
Mhm.
genital herpes. It's the same thing. It just happens to be on your mouth. But
Yeah.
if the virus goes into your brain, which is very rare, but it does happen, you will become unable to tell the difference between animals. You'll look at a
What?
picture
What?
of a horse and think it's an eagle.
What?
It's a look it up.
Wow,
That's a very
man.
real
All right.
thing.
I would love to find out who has that problem and like send them to Africa on a safari. And
Just
like,
send him to the zoo.
Here's a pen, here's some paper, write down your experience.
Look at this kitty. It's a rhino coming towards him.
Holy fucking shit, that's right. So you're walking down the street and somebody's got like a nice little chihuahua and you're like, holy shit, look at that gorilla.
Exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell the
Wow.
difference.
Fuck out of here.
And I'm not making this up. This is real. You can look it up yourself.
Oh yeah, no, the brain can do some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, it's literally everything you perceive. So,
I
And who you
pointed
are.
out to a coworker who has a mouth cold sore on his mouth. I was like, you know, that's genital herpes. It's the same thing. And he's like, no, it isn't. It's different. And I'm like, no,
Yeah,
no,
you know
it's
why?
the same
'Cause
thing.
he didn't get it from touching genitals. He got it from just kissing somebody who touched some genitals.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to get herpes on the mouth, but
talk about a
everybody
fun
thinks it's
coworker.
different, and it's like, no, it's the same thing.
Wait, which one? The guy with herpes or the
No,
one
Candice,
who's
just
kiting-
walking up to
kiting
some
the guy
dude in the
with
fucking
herpes?
break room and being like, "Hey, nice herp." You know that's the same thing you get on a dick, right?
Look, I think viruses are interesting, and everybody else should too. I drop my little nuggets of knowledge everywhere I go.
Sure thing.
Wait until that guy hears this episode.
Yeah, he's gonna be very upset.
she told I have a cold sore.
Yeah.
Everybody can see it, stupid. Well, no, I bet he's happy about the mask situation, right?
Oh, that's
yeah.
a good point. Wow, man. Yeah, you can just hide that shit for months now.
you take off your mask and the entire lower half of your face is just a giant cold sore.
Oh God, you look like something out of fucking Jacob's Ladder. Just like, oh man.
Oh shit, I forgot to brush my teeth. It's okay. You can wait till I get home.
Yeah. So yeah, they're buying all the Hannah meat, gonna make their Hannah burgers, and he goes over to see his buddy, Levine, at that lab you're talking about, and he says, "Look, man, I need to get a new lab, or I need to get my lab repaired or something because I got that fucking virus and I got to figure it out because I'm going to die in a week. I just found out from the news.
Well, no, he doesn't tell Levine. He tells, what's the guy's name? The butcher guy, Arvid.
Arvid, yeah.
Oh, no,
Arvid
that's right. That's right. Arvid, yeah.
Levine
he introduces him to
innovator.
Levine. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So he introduces him to Levine, who's the head of this
Wow,
hacking
no notes.
organization. Yeah, good pull. And Levine says, all right, look, here's the deal. I'll get you a new lab in exchange for some samples of your blood, because that shit that she had that killed her, very rare. All of her shit's very expensive, and that's a lethal virus. Lethal viruses are worth even more money because they're illegal.
So people are buying these killer viruses to inject themselves with so they can die the same way that Hannah died? That's
an interesting question. Are they killing themselves with it, or do they just want to have it?
That they, in their hand, they can hold a vial of the thing that killed their favorite celebrity.
Yeah. It's like those people who purposely eat blowfish sushi that might not have been prepared correctly because they like the risk.
Or like if you're some kind of crazy nut fan, being able to buy the gun that killed the celebrity that you like.
Yeah. Oh, so unhealthy. Oh my god. And it's so believable too. Like, this sounds extreme, but you know, if this
Not
was
that
something
extreme.
if this is something you could actually do in real life, people would be fucking doing it. There'd be some people. Wouldn't say a lot,
Yeah.
but there would definitely be some people who'd like,
I mean,
I want to have herpes just like my favorite celebrity.
yeah, some of them might even form some sort of a crazy ass death cult around them, and they could call it religion. So anyhow, yeah, he's like, look, man, I'm not gonna give you that blood. Like, that's probably a bad idea. I'm gonna just go ahead and leave now. But no, they don't let Sid leave. They don't want him to leave because that guy's worth a lot of money. So they knock his ass down, they drag his ass over, strap him in, and just start taking sample after sample, vial after vial of his blood.
Yeah, it's brutal because it feels like rape. It feels like he's being raped because he's trying to leave, and they grab him and shove him onto the floor, and then they're penetrating him over and over again. And they're like, we can still be friends after this. This doesn't have to be a thing. Like, they're telling him this, and he looks so miserable.
Yeah, and like implies that, well, this is your fault because you're being cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't want to give up the pussy, so we just took it.
You don't want to share? Come on.
Yeah,
it's brutal. And it's not only that, but it's also like, well, this is also kind of how these fucking celebrities are treated a little bit, right? Sure, we worship them and everything, but it's also, that girl was just laid out in that bed. She could have been fucking dead. Who knows? You know?
Plus, along the lines of the treating celebrities, it's like when something bad happens to a celebrity, or we rejoice and when they fall out of rehab, or they're making where they have like a very public meltdown, you know? It's like we kind of get a sick rejoice out of it because they're like, look, they're not fucking perfect. They're just like us.
Well, you build people up just to tear them down.
Yeah, then we feel like we're entitled to partaking in that. You know,
I paid to see his movie, so
yeah, it's like
laugh all I want about his small dick problems.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you didn't want us to be in your life so much, you shouldn't have become a celebrity.
Yeah, it's that, and it's also like, look who's actually ultimately powerful. Like, we're the ones that made you, and now we're destroying you.
Yeah.
And if you look at celebrity today, it's not how it used to be. Now if you're a celebrity, you're almost kind of like a performing monkey. Because, you know, back in the day, you went on Johnny Carson, and you did a straight-up interview, and you worked your jokes in it, you got your fucking trailer into it, and you were out. Now you go on the Tonight Show, you gotta do fucking tricks standing on your fucking head while people from the audience are throwing eggs at your feet.
Yeah, nobody cares about the Tonight Show anymore. But it's also kind of like, it was bad too way back in the day when you were basically property of the studio.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
They could be like, your image is falling. You either need to hide the fact that you're gay or we're going to destroy you.
Yeah. Or like a lot of the, like the, you know, your Marx Brothers, your Three Stooges and stuff, like, you don't own your image. You know, if we want to put your shit in cartoons or lunch boxes or any of that shit, fuck you. We own you.
And you better be grateful because we made you.
Yeah, but I doubt that it's still like that today.
No.
Well, I feel like it's actually kind of worse today because celebrities now, They have to keep their online presence up. You know, they have to be careful what they say on social media.
You know, I
Like,
know, Candice,
every
because I had to get an
single-
Instagram just because I do this podcast.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, oh yeah, like the Instagram photos, you know, they have to post regularly or else their managers and the people who are in the studios are like, look, you're not in the public's eye as much anymore. We need you to put a titty shot on Instagram to get your name going again.
And
Or
that's
something.
why,
Okay,
like,
if I
even on
have to,
local
Candice.
news, everybody on the news for your local fucking broadcast has a fucking Twitter handle and a Facebook page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost worse now because any kind of semblance of a private life is gone.
So I've talked with some comedians who were hired specifically by management companies of famous people just to tweet for them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Come on,
Uh-huh.
There's,
No, they don't
which
do
is like-
themselves.
if you watch maybe somebody out of 100 tweets, maybe 5 of them are from the actual person, because there's no
Yeah.
way that these fucking people are jet setting all over the world and tweeting.
Yeah.
And funny. Like-
Yeah, that's true. That's hard to do on Twitter.
Yeah, not everybody can be as lucky as us when it comes to being funny, you know?
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a
Doesn't
gift
come
and a
natural.
curse.
The pressure
Someday
is
people
outstanding.
want to eat our meat.
And man, talk about a curse. Fucking Sid. He, well, first of all, before they ditch his ass and he wakes up bloody on the street, they take a sample of his rash from his skin, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
fucking
Oh, yeah.
sucks.
Dude.
They
Ah.
took
This
a
is
plug.
fucking, yeah, this is fucking body horror for me. This one, that fucking skin
Yeah.
scope, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, they basically like take a plug of his skin. Like just it's not very big, but it goes
They
deep.
bore out his skin.
Yeah.
And then it's not even done yet. Then you gotta do the second part, you gotta fucking pull a little cylinder of skin out.
Ugh.
Yeah. That looked like it sucked.
Yeah, it looked really
So-
painful.
I don't
For
recommend.
real. No, don't take skin plugs out of people.
It's kind of
please.
the part of the body horror in this is the fact that he's
At least they
pregnant
didn't
with
do it
this
in his butt.
virus.
Yeah. And I mean, they also do the cool thing where they shove the big cotton swab up his nose. Well, he does that to himself earlier on in there. That's a fun one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Ugh.
trying to get everything.
Yep. And, anybody who's had the cool coronavirus test lately knows how fun that is.
I've had so many tests now, I have lost count.
Yeah. I've had,
Didn't you
like
say,
I said,
Candice, that there's something going on with people who are getting off on getting
Yeah,
the test?
they call it the nussy.
I gave it all up for the
Nussy. Pop that nussy. I just got tested again on Wednesday. Was my last test. I have to do it regularly because I work in a hospital, and I wanted to be like when they put the swab up there and they have to hold it there for 3 seconds on your sinus, which is not pleasant.
Oh no!
I
So long as 3
wanted
seconds.
I wanted to be like, oh god.
take me.
Just start
Hey,
light up a cigarette afterwards, you know.
Between us girls here, how many guys are just like keep coming back and back over and over again to take this test?
Yeah. Just pat the dude on the shoulder, be like, ooh, hey, you want to like go get something to eat now? Or yeah.
I need a cigarette.
So I had my deviated septum surgery. So I had they pack the sinuses full of the gauze and they put the stents in that they get to remove.
Ugh.
So I get the feeling it's not fun.
Oof.
Anything touching your sinus is terrible.
Oh god, it's so sensitive. Sorry,
Very.
I had to do it.
So yeah, our hero Sid wakes up bloodied and in a ditch on the side of the fucking road.
Yep, he basically got raped and then he got thrown on the side of the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
insult to injury.
Yeah. I mean, they could have at least like taken him back home or something.
Yeah.
But
Well,
no.
doesn't Arvid say at one point, like, hey, like I said, you kind of brought this on yourself because you're being stingy with this, but don't worry, when this is all over, you can still work for me. I'll take you to a doctor on the down low who does not going to ask too many questions, but the next day he wakes up on the fucking street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, nothing for him.
Anything just to shut them up while they're doing what they want to do.
Yeah. But he does get approached by two strangers. They say, look, man, we're gonna take you somewhere. And then they just kind of drive his ass off to
Oh,
this
wait, hold on,
undisclosed
hold on.
location.
You're missing a great fucking back and
Okay.
forth dialogue here.
Okay.
Because the first guy sits down, he kind of looks like Huey Lewis from the news, but
Yeah.
we'll get
He
past
does.
that. He says, have you heard that Hannah's husband didn't know that she was dead, and he slept with her in the bed. And every night since I've heard that, when I get into the bed, I always check and make sure that my wife is still breathing.
Yeah.
And then that's when the other guy comes in and sits down next to him, and that's when he realizes he's in shit trouble.
Yeah, because he's like, can you please move? And he just shakes his head.
He just smiles at him, too.
Yeah, he just smiles at him and shakes
worse.
his head.
He just smiles at him.
It's like, you are so helpless, I'm not even going to try to be intimidating.
Yeah. No, this is already
And then they order
place.
the calamari. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
At that restaurant?
They don't even stay for the calamari, though.
Oh,
they just leave.
Who paid for that? That's not something that, you can put on the fucking back heat or somebody else is going to order in 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're not going to be reheating that.
You think calamari was actually squid, or was it some celebrity named Cal Emery or something?
Oh, and then
maybe it's Dr. Zoidberg.
I'd eat Dr. Zoidberg.
Perhaps eat me, Dr. Zoidberg.
I love fucking Zoidberg. Zoidberg is maybe my favorite character off of that show.
Oh, he's great. So yeah, they drag his ass off to some undisclosed location where he turns out he meets Hannah because she's still alive, but not well.
No, she's not looking too good.
No.
Even they put as much makeup on her as they can, but you can tell that she is very pale and sick.
Yes. Very pale, very sick, and we meet her doctor, Malcolm McDowell.
Whoop whoop.
And so they say, look, the disease that she has is actually man-made, and we put a little fail-safe into it so that nobody can analyze it. Not only that, but we faked her death so that we could protect her from the public. And like, okay, well, that's a twist I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm,
Malcolm McDowell's like, I got another twist for you. He rolls up his sleeve, and you see all these fun skin grafts going up and down his arm.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Neapolitan ice cream.
Yeah,
it really
kind of does, because it's all these different skin tones and stuff. And he says that and there's a lab in Germany, a clinic in Germany, where you can get skin grafts made from the skin cells of your favorite celebrities and then have it put on your skin.
So you can touch whenever you want.
So, and then you can tell he's like very affectionately, like he's like, this is Hannah. And he's like stroking this patch of skin on his arm.
Yeah. I don't know the full text of the Hippocratic Oath, but I think being this obsessed with your patient might be violating.
Yeah, you know what, Eddie? That's true, because the other thing that never happens is, like, doctors never do any fucked up shit. They don't take their own drugs.
That's true.
Yeah.
They really live by that oath.
By the way, what percentage of dudes that work at the artificial insemination clinics are just using their own sperm?
I think that's happened before, and he got in a lot of trouble for it.
I think that's been 2 different episodes of SVU.
No, this has happened like a ton of times. So I'm wondering, like, just by the numbers, is it like, what, greater than 30% of the people are doing? Is it like more than chance? And that's just the ones that get caught.
I think 90%.
Yeah. Well, you've got like an endless supply for free, right? So
that's right. Why not?
And you could tell the lady, be like, look, it comes from a doctor. Ooh, a doctor.
And no matter what, it's still a gamble, right? Just because you have, Mozart's DNA baby doesn't mean he's going to be Mozart.
No, it's very true. Just because you have the DNA doesn't mean you have the potential.
Yep. Just because you have David Cronenberg's DNA doesn't mean it's going to be a Brandon.
Well, luckily this time it was.
Yeah,
luckily
surprisingly.
It was. Yeah.
This is the same thing with David Lynch's daughter. She's actually, I think I like her movies better than his.
Whoa. Shots fired, Tim.
God damn.
Surveillance is a great fucking movie.
Gotta check that out.
But I wanted to point out the whole skin grafts with Malcolm McDowell. It's kind of like, because he's her personal physician, Hannah's personal physician, he's like a high priest. Because he's trying to ask Sid to help save her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can still be saved if we can find out where this virus came from, because we're certain it was man-made. This was like an engineered virus, and it was an assassination attempt against her to kill her with this virus. And so, and he's, beseeching Sid, like, you need to help us. And he's like, well, I just want to get saved. I don't want to get involved in all of this. And that's when he shows him the skin grafts, and he says, I thought you were like me, but I guess you're just another fan.
Yeah. And that's what he points out. He says, yeah, I mean, when you stole or when you took her blood and then got yourself sick with it, you didn't need to do that. You already
That's
had the
right,
blood.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like you
Yeah.
were clearly a fan. You know,
Yeah.
you're one of her followers.
Yep, clearly. I mean, probably her best follower at this point. Following her right to the fucking grave. So he goes and has a little conversation with Hannah where she tells him, like, well, you know, the part of it that really sucks is your mouth bleeding yet? He's like, no. She goes, yeah, that's going to suck when that happens.
Well, no, none of that, but she doesn't even know who he is. She doesn't remember even meeting him.
Yeah, true. So yeah, he has to tell her who he is, and then that he's got her illness. And she goes,
So
yeah, the
you
thing
just
that...
meet your celebrity, you know, the person that you have a crush on, that you're doing all this shit for. You've already met them one time. The next time you meet them, they don't even remember who you are.
Yeah, that sucks. He goes, it's going to suck, though, because I don't really sleep anymore because the blood keeps kind of gathering in my mouth.
And she has
Like-
suffocation dreams.
Yeah,
in
it
your
says.
stomach.
That's
You
a
know
good
what-
point, Tim.
You know what it reminds me of? And maybe it's later on in the movie. So I'm trying to figure out this virus. Well, they said it's man-made, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to make any biological sense. Because she's got high fevers that cause hallucinations.
Mhm.
She's got bleeding from the mouth and rashes. And it
Mm.
seems like none of this makes any sense.
But
Like, 'cause
then
usually a
we
virus
find out
will,
that
like-
might be a 3-for-1 sale later
Yeah.
on.
You like this, yeah, it just biologically this virus doesn't make any sense, but they do explain that it's not a biological virus, this is man-made.
Yeah, that's true. So he has to go back to the lab and try to figure out what it is that she has. Got to try to figure out how it possibly leaked from the lab, where it comes from, anyway, basically to cure her, because his fate is linked to her, right? If he can't cure himself, he can't cure her. Hey, it's two birds, one stone, right?
When
Yeah,
he
because
goes
he's
back to the
obsessed with
lab.
her, and he has that closeness to power, so he has power himself. And if
Plus, he
she's
doesn't want to
gone-
die.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it's a very, very basic reason of he just doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
So this movie has a really good plot. You know, like a lot of times with art house type films, the plot is completely non-existent, or it's just kind of like real bare bones, and they rely so much on the rich imagery that they're not really trying to push a story along, you know. But this movie actually has a pretty intricate plot. It's almost kind of like a con artist movie, like, because they're trying to find out,
Yeah.
where did this come from, who did this, who is this guy, this
Yeah.
Derek Lessing.
Yeah, there's definitely a little mystery that's thrown in on top of all of it.
Yeah, it's
sure.
a whodunit.
It
And-
is a whodunit, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing I kind of didn't mention earlier was when they're back hanging out at Astral Bodies. There's a scene in there where they see a virtual version of Hannah on a monitor.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
Oh yeah, because
Well, this comes up later.
Yeah,
right?
because he's like standing in this room, and then you hear someone go, "Hello, hello, is someone there?" And he pulls back this curtain, and it's this like illusion of a Hannah Geist laying on her side in this clear box, and she's like, "Please help me." She's like, "What do you want me to do? Why did you do this to me?" And it's giving this like people who get off on humiliating people who are celebrities or someone they perceive as better than them, you know. And
Yeah.
that's clearly what they're going for here, because she's like, "Do you want me to hurt myself? I'll do anything. Just let me go." And he's so freaked out by this that he's like frantically looking around because he thinks that Hannah Geist is actually in this box.
Yeah, so he starts moving around the box, and it zooms in real close when there's these very bright red lips of Hannah on the screen, and you can see it in low resolution. God, that reminds me of Videodrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Very
wow,
cool,
yeah.
Very well
I
shot
wonder if
scene.
he's ever seen that movie.
You know what? I'll ask him one of these days. I'll try to get an interview with him.
Wow,
Oh.
now that would be a fucking pull.
That would be
That would be-
cool. But just
be
talk to him about his
hysterical.
dad the whole time. I'm sure he'd love it.
No. Just talk to him about his own stuff and then bring up films of his dad's that it reminds you of, but don't even make the connection. Oh, that's your dad?
Oh,
I
you're
didn't
that
know that.
Cronenberg.
Oh,
I thought you were related to the actor that was in Jason X, not the director.
Oh, you're of the
Wait,
East
that's
Coast
the same-
Cronenbergs. I thought you were part of the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Cronenbergs.
Ah, yeah, you're one of those Canadian Cronenbergs. Okay, never mind. My bad. So yeah, he goes back to Lucas Labs and he's in bad fucking shape.
He's using a cane. He's
Yeah.
hobbling around. He's so weak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
really hunched
very-
over at this point.
Very fucked up at this point. And his acting on this, like, he looks fucking sick, man.
Yeah.
It's a
No, Candice is
little
right.
bit of
This
it-
guy's a really great fucking actor.
He's a great actor.
Mhm.
Everything I've ever seen him in, he's very compelling to watch.
Well, I think
Okay.
also what it is, and here it goes to our thing with celebrity, is for the guy, the way he looks, he has to be a really, really good actor.
Yeah, because he's not a good-looking guy. He's not gonna skate across on having a six-pack, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of times I'm watching Korean movies or Korean TV shows with my wife, and for the most part, everybody on the shows is like incredibly beautiful, and then every once in a while you'll see somebody who's not, and like, well, that's because they're really good at acting, and that's why they
Yeah.
got the job. Otherwise, somebody pretty would have gotten it.
It's true.
Yeah, he is such a fun part of Get Out too, as the fucking
Oh, yeah.
piece of
Yeah, as
shit
the brother. Yeah. He's like wrestling him.
Yeah, he's all
it's-
obsessed with MMA and yeah,
Yeah.
dude's so good. So yeah, we go back to Lucas Labs and he says, "All right, well, what do you have left of the Hannah stuff?" And he's talking to him about the samples they have, and he figures out about a sample 888 was last checked out by Derek, and this sample checked out by Derek was well, he sold it to somebody in a rival lab, Vol and Tesser.
Yeah, and they seem to be like the one that's maybe more connected to the government and to, like maybe to the military or something like that.
Yeah, you kind of get that vibe off Vol and Tesser, is that maybe they're maybe they're trying to weaponize some shit.
Yeah, because the Lucas Clinic, which is where Sid works at, always comes across as like real classy. This is for the
Mhm.
connoisseurs.
Yeah, this
And
is the
then-
Beverly Hills Plastic Surgeon's office.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
The competition, they seem kind of more pragmatic, because the owner of the Lucas Clinic, he's like, you know, he's always talking about what does it mean to be a celebrity? What does our relationship with celebrities actually mean to us? He's very, very deep about it. And the Vol and Tesser place, they're like, we're going to do whatever you want us to do because we want to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just jump back to the beginning of the movie for a second.
Okay.
When the first guy who wants to get the herpes walks into the office, we
Mhm.
have that stark scene where the woman is sitting behind the desk, the secretary, and she's on the phone, and she just like puts her hand up and tells him to wait, and then she tells him to go into the other room, and him and the woman that he sits down to are the only ones who look like regular people. Everybody else that's supposedly sitting in that waiting room look like they could be fucking models themselves or stars themselves.
No, that's true.
Because, I mean, that woman definitely looks completely out of place there with everybody else that's
Yeah.
there. And I think she's even
Yeah.
wearing black or really dark clothes, so she's going to stand out even more. And the guy who gets the herpes, I forget what his name is, he looks like kind of like a fucking geek.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They both
everybody
seem
else
like
in that
the-
office sitting down looks fucking almost perfectly beautiful.
Yeah, they're all incredibly well-tailored clothes. Like, there's not a hair out of place on them. Even their facial hair is just groomed to perfection. Like, you can tell that the image of the company, the employees have to look fantastic at all times.
Well, even the people sitting in what looks like that they're sitting in the
The
waiting,
waiting room. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, are those actual people, or is that just like fucking like plants? Like, just to make it look more upscale, like, oh wow, look at all these people that are here, and I'm gonna
That
be able
makes
to be one
sense.
of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Like some clubs will have nobody inside of it just so they can form a line out front. So you're like, wow, that club must be busy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Good window dressing. Makes sense. You want to walk by, you don't want to see a bunch of schlubs when you go into the place. So, yeah, we find out that he sold that 888 to Vol and Tesser, and Vol and Tesser took that. They manipulated this 888, and they created their own man-made virus from it, right?
So
And
they did a
then for-
remix.
Yeah, they chopped it up and screwed with it. They made a little remix, you're right. And then they decided to patent it for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
even
Which you
though
find
it
out.
seemed like it was killing Hannah. So,
Well, I think we skipped over a couple of parts that I wanted to point out because
Okay,
the
go for it.
the imagery used was so good. Like the part where you find out about Derek Lessing and Sid goes over to his house because he's like, I need to find something. Maybe part of the virus is still there, or some kind of sample I can use, or some kind of
Yeah,
clue.
they both have the same hiding space.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
figures it out because he uses the same technique, and he gets it, and someone shows up, and he's like, "Who are you?" And like Sid who's looking real rough, like he's all hunched over, and he's really pale, but he puts his hand, wearing a black glove, over his lower half of his face so he wouldn't be able to be recognized. And he like backs away, and because his shoulders are all hunched up and his face is so pale, he looks like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that he does with his hand is like what fucking Jared Leto, that asshole, did in Suicide Squad as a Joker with the smile tattoo.
Yeah,
How he covers up his face.
He covers up his face because he doesn't want to be recognized, but I should point out that Nosferatu means plague bringer.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Damn.
Yep, got to bring it back to the vampires. And also, he somehow gets into Hannah Geist's room, and he's watching her while she's laying there sleeping, dying, and she looks very ethereal because she's very, very pale. But they still put red lipstick on her, and they still like fixed her
Yeah.
hair. So she's got this like golden blonde hair and these red lips, but the rest of her is just wasting away, and it reminds me of tuberculosis victims.
Yeah, that's
during
right.
the
Yep.
Victorian times, it was considered sexy to have tuberculosis. People thought that people dying of tuberculosis were beautiful because they were so thin and pale.
Oh
And
my god.
This is very true. And so
I can believe it. I 100% can fucking believe it.
it was called the White Death, and it was considered romantic to be dying of tuberculosis.
Ugh.
So that's what it reminded me of, because she's very, she's very pale and wan looking, and he's just staring at her like she's, God himself.
Yeah.
He's having his little communing moment with her, and then she like wakes up and starts coughing up blood and throwing up everywhere, ruining the illusion that she's this, perfect being.
Way
And
to go.
He panics because of it.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, because he's about to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Because before he can do anything to stop this patented super disease from, whatever they plan on doing with it at Volantesser, Levin abducts Sid and locks his ass up and broadcasts his health's deterioration and his death, inevitably, is the plan, as a reality show for all the people who didn't get to see Hannah die.
Yeah,
they need their fix.
Yeah, he's explaining that he's just an innovator who is going to broadcast Sid because he has the same disease that Hannah had, and
Yeah.
people were experiencing a uncomfortable gap of narrative between when she got sick and then her funeral, because they didn't get to watch her die. And so he's doing this as a service to people, recording this death, and he's like,
Yeah.
how are you feeling right now? And he's like coming in with a video camera, getting real close to his face and being like, how do you feel right now? Can you imagine this is what, Hannah Geist was experiencing? You're the closest anyone's ever been to her because you're dying the same way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's also good marketing if you happen to have a few vials of that laying around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And, Sid's not doing good. He's about to fucking die. He's in real bad shape. But before he goes, he has a little trick up his sleeve. Nice little syringe full of blood,
Mm-hmm.
which he stabs Levine right in his fucking mouth with.
Yeah, you see it too. It's like he puts it
and
in
you
his
see it.
bottom of his
Oh.
gums. Stabs him in the bottom of his gums with his needle of dirty blood. Oh, God.
Ugh.
Yeah, don't recommend that happening.
Yeah, that sucks. That looked like it hurt. And so then he pulls the thing out, the syringe back out. Now he's got this syringe full of infected blood, and he grabs a nurse, and he's like, look, man, I'm going to kill this nurse. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. So I'm holding her hostage with a vial of my own blood, which
Yeah.
that's fun. a fun little thing to be.
He's weaponized his own blood.
Yeah, he's taken ownership of the disease, I guess. So, yeah, he realized then that Volantesser infected Hannah with that. And
They planned on killing her.
Yeah,
Because
they did.
then they have exclusive ownership of the virus that killed Hannah Geist.
Yeah, they're doing a workaround because Hannah Geist is exclusive to the other company.
Yes.
Nobody can
virus,
make anything
yeah.
that involves her at all. But if she caught our trademark disease, we own that. It's already trademarked, so we can sell it.
And it just reminded me, like you said earlier, Tim, of Monsanto, the way that they do with their shit. They trademark their seeds that they've genetically modified. And if it ends up on your farm and you're growing their seed, guess what? You got to pay them.
Yep.
Give me my money, bitch.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, real fucking dirty trick to be playing with a human's life. But
they're not
what are you going to do? Yeah, they're celebrities.
Yeah, but it's just a celebrity. It's commodity. Because at some point, don't the two guys who pick him up in the diner say, calm down, don't worry, you're a commodity now.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're just a group hallucination.
He's really become a celebrity himself because as long as Hannah Geist is still hot at the moment, he's going to be hot until, he can keep carrying these viral payloads in his blood that he can keep selling. But as soon as the public's attention, which is notoriously fickle, is going to go on to someone else, then they're going to cast him aside. They're going to use him up and cast him aside like they do celebrities in real life.
So what do? You negotiate.
Yep, he's really smart.
He really is. This is a good move. He gets in touch with Tesser and he's like, look, I'm ready to jump ship. I'm going to work with you guys now. So why don't we work out a deal? And they do. So now we get to the closing sequences of the film, where that virtual, what's that?
I was about to say, oh God, the imagery, the body horror is strong in this part.
Oh
yeah, this is really like, why do they have to do that?
I don't know that they have to, but they do. So it looks like Tesser has been working with Sid's buddy. Because we see a virtual reality version of Hannah that's advertising her afterlife.
Yeah, it's kind of, they had to have done that CG. Well, obviously the actress who played Hannah is a real person. They just used her, but in like the universe, they had to use that CG for dead celebrities that they did with like Grand Moff Tarkin. They like put him in Rogue One and all that stuff.
Eddie doesn't know what we're talking about.
Okay,
I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
You
and almost everybody who's cool
Tupac.
in the entire world knows.
Yeah. You should have said Tupac. I would have been like, oh, when they made the laser Tupac. Okay.
She's talking about how when she was a little girl, her mom asked her what she wanted, and she wanted to be young and beautiful forever. And now her wish has come true, and she's welcoming everyone to enjoy her afterlife. And then it shows her, they've been building with their patented cell gardens. They've been growing parts of her body. So they've completely broken down Hannah Geist as a person into just a system of systems. You got a beating heart with a working circulatory system. You got kidneys. You got skin. You got everything you could want, but you don't have a consciousness.
Yeah. Well, who cares about the consciousness? At some point,
didn't Arvid say one of his dreams was to live long enough to see where they could actually grow a celebrity themselves?
Yep.
Well,
isn't it, they play kind of fast and loose with the rules, don't they? Because they're like, oh, but this isn't a person. Because that's illegal. You can't clone a person.
Yeah, but we find out at the very end that it's a person.
You think that's just a pole-shaped arm sticking out.
Yeah.
Why do they have to do that with the fucking arm?
Because it's 90-degree angles where the angles are elbows, and it's an arm, and he cuts it once everybody.
Well, first
leaves.
he injects it, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea is that now they're basically just infecting Hannah's cells, quote unquote, in this distorted cell garden.
Now
so they can
the bird flu. Now she has this kind of flu. Now she has this.
Right. So now instead of having to get whatever she happens to catch, you can have her catch whatever you want.
Yep. You're making the trends now instead of trying to follow them.
Right. Yeah.
You can have all those I Love Herpes t-shirts already printed up, ready to go.
Finally, I can sell those fuckers.
Finally,
Give the
I
guy
can
you work
get
with a free shirt.
finally
Here
I
you
can
go.
get the genital warts I deserve. And yeah, so he sticks the needle in the genetically created arm, and then after people have left, he's alone with the arm. And like you were saying, he gives it a little cut and starts
And you can
drinking.
see the blood pumping. There's a working heart.
Yeah, and they kind of zoom out a little bit, and you get to see what's in the cell garden.
And it's Hannah.
Oh, it's Hannah, all right. All deformed with her face and her body all distorted and twisted.
And Sid, like, he puts the cut on that arm, and he
Mhm.
leans down, and he, like, touches it, and he says the words from the beginning of the movie when he's talking about Hannah, that she's perfect. Like, this is
Yeah.
what he's always wanted, and so he starts drinking her blood.
But
Yeah,
for him,
she's
this
not
is the
even a
most
person.
perfect version he could have.
Yeah, it's where you have your god, but you don't have to worry about the messy parts, like the fact that it's a human being.
Yeah, and that is antiviral.
Yeah,
Uh,
I fucking love this movie. I think this movie is so smart and clever and
Yep.
well crafted and beautiful, and the
Yeah.
acting's phenomenal in it.
I would say if I had a criticism of it, the last 20-ish minutes of it, they could cut down some of the longer tracking shots a little bit. But
Yeah, I agree with
for
that.
this
yeah.
being the filmmaker's first fucking work,
First feature-length movie, yeah.
yeah, it's incredibly well done, and it's a damn shame that it wasn't more successful.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
definitely going to be watching his other film, Possessor, that came out
Oh,
just
yeah.
this year.
Yeah, I am only looking forward to watching that because of seeing how well this movie was made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just very interesting that the different, like you said, the religious symbolism that's used in here, as well as like the kind of commentary on celebrity. It's funny, in an interview they did ask Brandon if his view on celebrity has changed ever since making Antiviral, and he says, "Nah, it's pretty much the same."
Yeah.
I think he
People
had a
still-
very strong opinion going into it, and I don't think he's going to change his mind anytime soon.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got that out of my system.
Because
Hey,
you
can
see,
I be
like,
on the National Enquirer?
you see,
Yeah.
like, oh, I got I got hair from this celebrity, and I'm selling it on eBay for thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
And it's
well,
like, who wants that?
well, it starts with the autograph, right?
Yeah.
Like something very passive. Just
I can
it's a-
understand the autograph, okay? Because that's something that you could have and you can look at and, here's some, I'm not just bullshitting you. I met this person. Here it is. But to start going more and more to the point where, and like we said, this is something that could very easily happen. We actually want the fucking same disease
We
that
want
your
to,
favorite singer or movie star has.
And we want
just
to
so you
drink-
can be closer to them like that. It's just fucking...
and we want to drink their blood and eat their flesh. We want to consume these celebrities.
Yeah, Tim, you went to Catholic school. You know what that's all about.
Yes, I did. Jesus,
I gotta say,
I was
I-
an altar boy too. I had
Literally,
to
Jesus
protect
Christ.
that body from falling on the floor.
Were those crackers any good, or are they just pretty shitty?
No. I will tell you this: we used to eat them by the handful
I knew you did.
because those things they literally would fucking just melt in your mouth. Or what would happen too is if you had a little bit of a dry mouth, it would get stuck to the roof of your mouth,
Oh,
and you'd have
God.
to work your tongue back and forth to get it dissolved. It kind of almost like what you imagine paper tasting like, but had a better taste to it.
Hmm.
And then when it was dipped into the wine, Jesus' kiss.
Yeah.
I always think it's funny because, I came from a Baptist background. I come from the South. There's not a lot of Catholics in the South, at least not in the part I lived in. A lot of Southern Baptists, though. And they would do, like, a communion, but Baptists aren't supposed to drink alcohol, so they would use grape juice instead of wine. And I'm like,
No, at a certain point, I
literally-
think the Catholic Church switched over too because not everybody wanted to drink wine. And then, like, what did you do when the kids came up? So I think
Yeah.
they did use grape juice, but some of the priests I remember one, Father Napoli, would actually have wine.
Yeah, you used to get in line twice when it was really wine, Tim.
Well, no, what's fucked up with him is his parents gave him this beautiful handmade fucking thing that you put the water and wine in.
Mhm.
And my friend Mark Well,
Mark.
bleep out the name, but you'll get it.
Oh my God.
What a name.
Was running while he was holding them and fucking dropped it and broke it.
Oh.
And like, this is something that at that point, the guy must have had like for fucking like 50 fucking years.
Oh man, that's.
And they were fucking every altar boy sort of like, wow, did you see those fucking chalices? Wow, that's really nice.
That sucks.
Yeah, it always.
Way to go, Mark.
It always pissed me off with the Southern Baptists because they're like, it is a sin to drink alcohol. That's why there's dry counties in the South. And I'm like, literally, Jesus' first miracle was to make more alcohol.
Yeah.
No,
It's like, this doesn't make any sense.
No, other way around.
I don't understand. But that's I have a lot of problems with Baptists. They're a special kind of asshole.
What's fun is if you go to Utah, they clearly dry most places.
Mm-hmm.
They have whole aisles though in the supermarkets that look like that's where you get the wine, but it's all just different brands and styles of grape juice that are bottled. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Quit it.
I feel like being a Mormon's like being in middle school your entire life. Hey guys, we're gonna eat some s'mores. We're gonna drink grape juice.
It really is. Oh man.
But I have some alcohol here.
Doors in both of them.
And instead of actually going all the way, they just do some heavy petting, you know?
Yeah. Do some on top of the clothes stuff.
Mormons are the middle schoolers of religion.
Mormons. So yeah, I think it goes without saying we all recommend watching this movie if you haven't already.
Highly recommended, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've absolutely spoiled it for you. So, guys, is there anything else this movie might remind you of you'd like to tell the listeners they should maybe take a look at?
Yes.
Something else to watch?
Maybe Papa Cronenberg movie, you know? Maybe David Cronenberg has a movie called Existenz.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Candice.
Yeah,
right.
that I think would pair
Guess who's going to be on that
perfectly.
show? Because I think I've already mentioned that to Eddie. Wait, that's supposed to be my pick for Body Horror Month. What happened to that?
Nobody likes you, Tim.
We did enough Cronenberg. Well, you became the co-host. You're taking all sorts of liberties, sir.
Shouldn't I have some input?
You will.
No.
February's the guest's
Looking
choice.
for it.
Tim's just the pretty face of the podcast. Eddie's the real power behind the throne.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
the Dr. Claw behind
I
you.
get to be the celebrity.
Exactly.
That's true, yeah. You've got the eyebrows for it, buddy.
The eyebrows. Oh, I also, you know how in the beginning of the podcast we were talking about Dracula Untold, and I was like, I haven't actually seen that. So I looked it up, and why didn't anybody mention that the guy who plays Vlad is Luke Evans? He plays Gaston in Beauty and the Beast live remake. This guy is amazing. I love this guy.
Okay, look at that connection.
So I'm going to be
Looks like you
watching
gotta
this
watch
movie.
Nice. And you know what I could do is maybe I could download that and put it on the blood bank. And if you want to know what the blood bank is and take a look at it, you can take a look at our Patreon at patreon.com/bloodybits. Anyhow, plug that. So Tim, what about
didn't
you?
You just fill up the whole 5 terabytes of hard drive?
Yeah, so I did just make a message about that. But before we get to that, Tim, do you have a recommendation or are you going with Existenz as well?
I will go with Existenz.
I think we'll make
Great
that unanimous
movie.
then.
I love that fucking movie. And I love me some Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah. But so yeah, to your point, Tim, I did just fill up the blood bank. I capped it off. There's still a little bit of room in there, but I'm looking to expand it. We'll investigate that or rolling out some things and
so if more
rolling in
people
some
join
new
the
things.
Patreon.
Oh yeah, if more people join the
$3 a
Patreon
month, up to $10, they could help
then
you buy
they
a
can
new
get
hard drive.
access to it. And you know what we just added, Tim?
What?
You've probably never heard of it, but it was a 1-season TV show called Erie, Indiana.
I just saw that. No, and how about this? I watched that when it came on NBC.
Oh my God. You did?
Yes, because that was supposed to be
Candice?
like the new Twilight Zone thing and everything like that. I think Amazing Stories was either on the air or just going off the air when that came on.
Yeah, this was like 92, 93. Candice, are you familiar?
I know of it, but I've never seen a single episode of it. But
X-Files
I
for
guess I know what I'm
kids.
going to be doing.
Stranger Things before Stranger Things.
Yeah, totally. Stranger Things.
And it was actually in the 80s.
Yeah. It was good stuff. So yeah, you can definitely take a look at that. Now, Candice, before we let you go, is there anything that you think our listeners should tune into or check out?
Well, if you are not listening to The Grind Bin yet, you definitely should be. Especially if you like this show, because both myself and Eddie were on the Christmas special for The Grind Bin, covering the movie Deadly Games. Not only is it a great movie, but it was a great podcast episode.
It was until the wrong guys came out, and then that became an instant classic.
I still haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah. Of course, if you aren't checking out The Grind Bin, check out The Grind Bin. Check out the Mustachioed Podcastio with another one of our frequent guests, Daniel. We're going to be releasing for New Year's the Crank bonus episode.
Yes,
by the way,
we're doing Crank 2 pretty soon too, right?
That's correct. I think we're going to be recording that maybe this coming week, Tim.
I'm ready to go right now. Call Daniel.
Yeah.
My
all right, Tim. Anything?
Lunchbox.
Anything else you want to point out, or anybody should pay attention to?
No, I think like Candice said, if you're listening to the show, you know that we've all been on either Daniel's show, Mustachio Podcastio, or Grind Bin, so keep it all in the family. I think I got something coming up on Everything I Learned from Movies with Mike from the Grind Bin.
Yeah. Always check out Everything I Learned from Movies. They just did their award show where.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and they did it under an hour too. We have to learn how to do that.
Hour. Yeah. No, I think our bonus episodes we might be able to get under an hour. Definitely not the regular length episodes, though. All right, guys. So I think that's it. I want to give a special shout out to our Patreons, though, because without you guys, none of the bonus content would be possible. So maybe we'll do a little individual shout out in upcoming episodes. Tim, how do you feel about that?
I think that's a great idea because definitely appreciate anybody's help. And spread it out so you don't say all their names in 1 week, so we keep dragging the money out of them.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't afford to support it through the Patreon, I understand. Just tell a friend.
Tell 2 friends. Come on. You got to know 2 people, right?
Yeah, that's true. If you only tell 1 friend, you're being cheap. Come on.
And wait, give us 5 stars or you're stealing our money?
Yeah, 5-star reviewer, you're stealing our money. That's definitely true. So, Candice, thank you so much for bringing this movie here. I really enjoyed watching it. And yeah, I'm definitely...
Yeah, good pick, Candice.
I'm a proselyte for this movie. I'm like, have you seen Antiviral?
A prostitute for this movie?
No, I said a proselyte. Like I spread I spread the message of Antiviral.
Spread the good word, Candice.
Prostitute with a virus. What?
Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Brandon Cronenberg?
All right. So, guys, I think that this is how I end it.